time I talked about England. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I've just noticed I haven't got my glasses on, so you probably recognise me. But welcome back to the channel today. Probably looked a bit weird without my glasses on there for a sec. They're actually quite new for me, so yeah, you probably won't. No one will know that, but yeah, I just started wearing them, so I can forget them sometimes. If you notice me without them on, it's probably just because I forgot to put them on. But yeah, let's talk about England. First of all, I wanted to say thank you for coming along, of course. It means a lot to just get some viewers on these videos. Anyone that's new, I'm just trying to dip my toe into YouTube, see what it's like, see if there's anything in this for me. I'd normally be listening to a podcast on my way to work, so my inspiration's kind of just, well, instead of listening to them, why don't I just make one that other people can listen to on their way to work. I don't claim to be any statistician or expert, but I like to think that I could break down certain aspects of the game. But at the end of the day, I'm just a fan like you, so I'm not gonna go and give massive, incredible insights, but I'll try my best, you know. But anyway, England. So I didn't want to make a video straight away after the first game because it's Tuchel's first match in charge. Like, there's only so much that can change from Southgate, and I think that's pretty much the story of this international break. The hangover from Southgate is going to take a while to break off, and it's not just from Southgate, it's just football in general. I actually respect what Southgate did. I agree that it was his time to call it a day after that Euros. To be honest, I didn't think he should have gone into the Euros, but it is what it is. We nearly got there, but I don't know about anyone else when they were coming to that final for the Euros. I was more out of hope that we would do it. I didn't actually fully believe that we would. I would have loved to have done it, obviously, and I was buzzing. I was all kitted out, had the bucket hat on, had the big flag out on my back, but I don't know. I thought just from the way we were playing and the way Spain were playing, if a footballing man looks at that and goes, you have a fighting chance, but you're not the favourites here, and you need something to happen. And something nearly did happen. I didn't want Kane to start in the final. As soon as he came off, we actually looked good, you know, stuff like that. Certain things you just knew were going to happen, which meant we wouldn't win the final because Southgate wouldn't change it. But I'm not criticising Southgate there, it's just who he is. So we've been stuck with this style of play with England for years. We've never really played free-flowing football. Like, we just haven't done it. And I think Tuchel's kind of shot himself in the foot by saying he wants to play that way. Not necessarily because he can't do it. Sorry guys, I just noticed I've got something on my car. You have to give me a second. Yeah, not necessarily because he can't do it, because one sec. Sorry about that, I'm back. Just had to deal with something quickly. What was I saying about Tuchel? Yes, so the hangover that we're going to have from Southgate and just the way we've been playing for years, it's not something he's going to shake off within a 2 week, not even a 2 week period, a 1 week period. It's not going to happen. I've seen a stat that he's only going to have about 24 training sessions with the squad before the World Cup. So the most time he's going to get with the team is actually going to be at the World Cup. So I think we need to temper our expectations a little bit. I'm seeing stuff like Paul Merton's an absolute tosser sometimes. Like, he's come out and said, oh, if Tuchel doesn't win the World Cup, he's a failure, and that's all he'll get. It's like, that's so stupid. If we've hired Tuchel with the one objective of that World Cup and nothing else afterwards, and we're not going to extend him or anything, or he doesn't want to stay on, I think that's so short term. Like, it's just not how you do it at an international level. You look at the Spain manager, who they've got now, he's gone up through all the ranks and blah blah blah. He's engrossed within the Spanish football. Joachim Low at Germany, when they won it, he'd been there for years. The Argentina coach had been there for years. Like, they've been able to get their style of play across to the players because they've had a long time to do it. This World Cup is, if anything, is too soon for Tuchel. My guess in this World Cup is we'll see Tuchel ball, like we'll see him how he wants to play, and it will be positive. I think it will be positive football. I don't think it's going to be so defensive, and it will be something that we will enjoy. But I still think when it comes to the crunch time, some of the England players will just not hide, but they'll go back into their shell, and we won't see the same football when we play against like a big team in the knockouts. That's not criticism of them, it's how they've been trained over the years. It's a consequence of having Southgate as a manager and Allardyce, and well, even though he was there for a short amount of time, Hodgson, all these sort of managers who were never going to play expansive football. I think if Tuchel can get us to a semi-final, he should be very, I do lie. I said about Southgate, he should be winning us this Euros this year. Euros is obviously easier to win, in my opinion, than the World Cup. Some people say it's harder because you have to play more big teams, but you have to be a big team at some point in the World Cup. It doesn't matter when. Like, we played France in the quarterfinals last time. We played Croatia in the semis. Croatia were a good team. They weren't an amazing team, and we probably should have beaten them, but they were still a good team, and then you would have had to play France in the final anyway. So at some point you have to beat a very good team. It's true you might play one team extra who's top level. Like we might have played, I remember Germany back in the Euro 2020. We played them in the round of 16. Very weakened German team, but we still played Germany. So if you play a big team in the round of 16 in the World Cup or the Euros, it's because, in the Euros, it's because they haven't done very well in their group. That's why. Which means that it's probably not a good version of that squad. But anyway, yeah, we'll talk about what's happening over the international break with England, and it's been quiet if uneventful. I think that's the way to describe it. We won the games, we expect to win the games. We've seen little bits and bobs, but nothing to get us off our seat too much. Which, like I said, I'm not expecting that with Tuchel right now. I think we need to give him the time of day. Like I say, he's going to have just over 3 weeks with this squad before the World Cup in total. I wonder how he's going to manage that, because he can be a very good tactician manager, and how much information he gives to these players. Maybe he gives them some work outside of England, so like while they're with their clubs, maybe he tries to give them a bit of work outside there, some game plans or whatever, what he wants to see from them. It wouldn't surprise me if he does do that, because he's very much all-in manager once he's in. I hope he gets further in the World Cup, to be honest, in terms of his tenure with England. I think it'd be a real shame to let such a top quality manager go after the World Cup. I think if he does go to the World Cup, it's because they want Eddie Howe and they think he'll be available then. But he just won a trophy with Newcastle. There's no guarantee he'll be. He might be fine with Newcastle and not want to go. So I don't see it necessarily with Eddie Howe yet. Maybe eventually, but not yet. But yeah, with England, I think what have we learned from these two games? Bellingham can play in the 8. He can do it. We know he could, but we've seen him do it for England now, alongside Declan Rice. I think Miles Lewis-Skelly is going to be the starting left back for England. I think that's almost cemented, along with Reece James if he's fit. I think if Reece James isn't fit, maybe Trent comes in. I think the reason for that, I don't necessarily think Lewis Hall isn't better than Miles Lewis-Skelly, but I think Tuchel likes Skelly to play in that midfield. Basically, you can have Reece James and Miles Lewis-Skelly pinch in, and it means that Rice can venture forward. You saw it for the second goal yesterday, for Harry Kane's goal. Rice sprinted through the middle of the pitch, left his sixth position and sprinted through the middle of the pitch, and you would have had the two fullbacks tucking in there. So if we did lose it, we still had a nice shape to us. Do I necessarily like Rice flying forward? I don't think so, because I think Rice needs to... Sorry guys. Rice needs to sort of calm it down, I think. Like, he doesn't need to be this lung, but I like him doing it, but I just think there's so many players we have going forwards. We don't need him to go forwards. We need a more defensively solid Rice. That's what England need to if they're going to win a World Cup. We can't have 6 players flying into the box. We can't have 3 midfielders and 3 forwards flying forwards and have no defence. Like, it won't work. So unless he's going to play the 2 fullbacks as like DMs or out of possession, then he gives Rice more freedom, but we'll see. I think we've seen that Bukayo Saka is a big upgrade on any right winger we have. That's not a slight on Jared Bowen or on, well, a bit on Phil Foden. Phil Foden is meant to be our world-class saviour, and I think the drop-off from Saka to any other right winger in our squad is pretty big. I think Saka's reputation has only grown with his injury. I think people would now be like, yeah, that's, if you have a world-class right winger on that right side, it's much easier. So I think the injuries actually helped Saka with his spot on the England side. I don't know what this car in front's doing. He's just absolutely doing nothing. So guys, let me just focus here a second while I'm coming off my junction. Yeah, I think Saka in this Tuchel side will do very well. Obviously, he wants to have a lot of possession of the ball. He wants to get the penalty crossed into the box, and Saka can literally go either way, cross it with either foot. So I definitely think we'll be seeing more. We'll be seeing it like an Arsenal version of Bukayo Saka for England. And he's already been quality for England. I think he's Mr. Reliable for England on that right hand side. I actually think he's probably my first name on the team sheet for England with his performances he's given. And then I think the Foden experiment needs to stop. I think that needs to stop now. I think he's had his time of day for England. He cannot be a guaranteed starter. That's what I mean when it needs to stop. I think you can have him on the bench, have him come on for Jude Bellingham, or for Cole Palmer, or for Bukayo Saka. You know, have him on there because he has got quality. But the player's out of form right now. Like, Mbappe was out of form at the start of the season and got dropped from the French squad. So I think we need to be a bit more ruthless with this. If a player's not in form, they should not be playing for England. It's pretty simple. Unless the only exception you give that is unless they've been doing a job for England. So I look at, you could say Maguire back in the day, you could say Pickford back in the day. I'm thinking of further back, like Danny Welbeck or like Theo Walcott. They would always score for England. It was really weird, but maybe they were out of form with their club stuff, but they would still always score for England. So I look at Phil Foden and I go, you're not doing it. You haven't done it for England pretty much ever. I don't remember him. I can't remember Phil Foden putting on an England shirt and being like, this is the Phil Foden we know. He showed glimpses in the Netherlands game. I think that was probably his best game he had in an England shirt. Should have scored when he jinked through the defence, but apart from that, he's never let it up for England. I don't think that's harsh to say. I think that's just the reality. I think Cole Palmer deserves a shot when he's fit again. And then Bukayo Saka on the right hand side. And Foden cannot play on the left, so he doesn't play. That's how ruthless we have to be with this. Foden starts on the bench. Anthony Gordon, I think, would start on the left-hand side. I think if you're playing Kane through the middle, which again I have my doubts about, but he does look sharper now, Kane. And I think the issue with Kane is his injuries. If we can get fully fit Harry Kane next year at the World Cup, you know, we have a fighting chance. If he's not fully fit, he doesn't play. That's how I look at this with Harry Kane. I think we do the same thing with every other position. We need to take the same approach with Harry Kane. I do have a bit of an opinion on Kane though, in terms of I do kind of think Harry Kane is inadvertently the reason for our style of play. I think we can't play this attacking, expansive brand of football with Harry Kane up front right now. That's just my opinion. It's probably incorrect, but the way I look at it is we're trying to build possession and trying to move the opposition around with a striker who wants to drop deep and doesn't want to run in behind. Yeah. Now, not even just running behind, he doesn't want to be on the shoulder of the defender. He wants to come into the edge of the box space, which is where players like Jude Bellingham or Phil Foden or Cole Palmer, or even players like Bukayo Saka on the right hand side sometimes, or the fullbacks like Lewis Skelly, Reece James, they want to come into those spaces. So Kane needs to be more of a penalty box striker, because he's not going to be jinking in and out of players on the edge of the box, with all due respect to Harry Kane. He's a quality goal scorer, but I just think the style of play that we want to play, he's an absolutely fantastic player. I just don't think he's a fantastic player for our England side. I don't necessarily think he's the right fit for this young England side with all this energy that wants to play this attacking football. I don't think it's the correct chemistry. And it would be interesting to see what would happen if you took Kane out on the side. Maybe for an Ollie Watkins. Maybe you don't play the striker and you go with the Palmer and Bellingham, like I've mentioned before, in two false nines basically. But we'll never know, because it's not going to happen. Kane is Tuchel's signing for Bayern Munich, and he is a world-class player, so it'd be an extremely bold move, and if it doesn't work out, Tuchel probably loses his job. You know what I mean? So, but if you're going to test it in the qualifiers, I think. That's my little take on Harry Kane. But anywho, yeah, well, I've got to wrap it up because I'm about to get to work. But basically, we need to just temper expectations. Tuchel's not going to turn this around in a day. You know, it's going to take him a good while to get this all figured out, sorted, and for us to be playing expansive football. I have full faith that we will eventually see glimpses of it in the World Cup, but I don't think that we're going to be seeing this expansive football that we're all expecting to see as quick as we're expecting to see it. I hope we do, but I'm realistic about our expectations, and we're perfectly capable of winning that World Cup. If we do, isn't that just another question? Just park, guys, sorry. Yeah, lovely, perfect. Alright, thank you guys for coming along today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you have any wacky theories about England or how we can win the World Cup or stuff like that, let me know down in the comments, and thank you guys for coming along. Peace.